The masterpieces hanging in museums weren't just created with brushes and talent. They were born in laboratories where artists doubled as chemists, grinding toxic minerals and conducting dangerous experiments that would make modern safety inspectors faint. Renaissance painters were alchemists in the truest sense, transforming base materials into visual gold through processes that blurred the line between art and science. Consider ultramarine blue, the most precious pigment known to the old masters. Extracted from lapis lazuli mined in the mountains of Afghanistan, this blue was literally worth more than gold. Artists like Vermeer and Botticelli reserved it for the most sacred elements of their paintings: the Virgin Mary's robes, the heavens themselves. The process of extracting pure ultramarine from the raw stone was so complex and labor-intensive that painters treated it like liquid treasure, mixing it sparingly with lead white to stretch their supply. But ultramarine was just one color in a palette built on chemistry and danger. Vermilion, that brilliant scarlet red, required artists to combine mercury and sulfur in an alchemical process conducted in retorts over open flames. The result was a pigment so toxic that prolonged exposure could drive painters mad, yet so vibrant and opaque that it became indispensable for flesh tones and dramatic accents. Lead white, the foundation of nearly every Renaissance painting, was created by stacking lead strips with vinegar and animal dung, waiting for oxidation to produce the creamy white powder that gave paintings their luminosity and gave artists lead poisoning. The science didn't stop at pigment creation. Recent research has revealed that masters like Leonardo da Vinci and Botticelli added egg yolk to their oil paints, creating a complex emulsion that modern scientists are only now beginning to understand. The proteins in egg yolk prevented paint from wrinkling and yellowing, while also allowing artists to build up thick impasto layers without cracking. This wasn't random experimentation. It was sophisticated materials science, passed down through workshops and recorded in technical treatises that read like chemistry textbooks. Jan van Eyck pioneered oil painting through experiments in distillation, essentially functioning as both artist and alchemist in his studio. The transition from egg tempera to oil paint in the 15th century represented a chemical revolution. Tempera dried through water evaporation in minutes, forcing artists to work in thin, hatched layers. Oil paint cured through oxidation and molecular cross-linking over days or weeks, allowing wet-in-wet blending and the luminous glazes that define Renaissance art. The chemistry of polymerization, oil molecules forming long chains and hardening when exposed to oxygen, gave artists unprecedented control over their medium. Even the canvas preparation involved chemistry. Genuine gesso grounds, made from chalk and animal glue, created absorbent surfaces that bonded chemically with the first paint layers. Artists had to understand which pigments were compatible. Mixing certain colors could trigger chemical reactions that turned paintings black or caused them to deteriorate before the patron's eyes. The old masters weren't just painters, they were experimental scientists working at the intersection of art and alchemy, where beauty emerged from understanding the molecular behavior of materials. Every brushstroke represented not just artistic vision, but chemical knowledge hard-won through centuries of dangerous experimentation. The masterpieces we revere today are as much monuments to scientific